I think the hero hasn't been exceptionally good in competitive since they got rid of the regen on Flesh Heap, but to be honest, it's still an enjoyable hero to watch, and I'm excited to see what they do with it here. Now, you said they're copying China a little bit. Clearly, this is a core Pudge, right? Based on what we're seeing here, this is going to be a three
Yeah,
position Pudge off lane axe or a safe lane axe.
I honestly think it might be a Tomato Pudge and a Saberlight Axe. We'll have to see because now they did sort of what I thought they were going to do, except instead of flexing between their mid lane, or rather between their off lane and their +1, now they're going to flex it between the Pudge and the Axe, where I genuinely don't know if Saberlight is going to be on this Pudge. Of course, the safe lane Axe, we've seen it proven pretty much time and time again, but they picked up this Viper hero. I'm not entirely sure that Undying are going to want to play into that matchup
Yeah.
where if you do find that jump, you put down the puddle, you lose the counter helix, you lose all of your damage more or less. So I think this might actually be a Tomato Pudge, something I don't think we've seen him play, at least not
Never.
officially in a comp game.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. And then of course TeamTeam, they go for the Terrorblade. So a calculated risk, you could say, from Undying, but I do like it a lot. It's a very fun hero. And looking at the offlane right now for TeamTeam, this Pudge is going to be more or less uncontested, I think, because DK Techie is, as strong as it is, that Pudge is going to have 1,000 HP 3 minutes into this game. That's a lot of HP that really you don't have damage for in that lane anymore.
Yeah, so explain to me. A lot of people probably don't know this either. The safe lane Pudge, where did it come from, and why is it picked specifically here?
I think the big reason is because you look at the bans across both teams, and it is just all of the carry pool. Everything is more or less gone. And even though this Terrorblade has snuck through, the Pudge has this timing where you get Phase Boots, you get Aghanim Scepter, you get that BKB, and Terrorblade, as good a hero as he is, if you don't have that range, you don't have that Scotty, and Undying have actually set it up very beautifully with both the Mirana and the Phoenix, where you have so much supplemental magic damage coming from your backline. Pudge is now this secondary frontliner where you're going to be able to stand in front of everyone and deal so much magic damage, picking it even into the DK and the Viper where you have these immobile heroes. The big reason why it's so popular is because all of these carries are gone. You don't have anything else in the pool, and Pudge is just the stat king that now if you can catch Sammy Boy, if you get him with any hook, it is over. If you displace this Terrorblade, this Luna, this Gyrocopter in the middle of your team fight, that is just the end for a lot of these safe lane carries. So Pudge has sort of come up now as this, maybe not a guaranteed disabler in these team fights, but it's just this wall that now you have to be a little bit scared of. I've definitely seen, especially Ame, get some insane hooks as well. These players are so mechanically skilled that they can definitely pull it off.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Pudge's Aghanim Scepter, you probably haven't seen it, in comp too often because the hero, is never played in comp, but also never in the carry position. But essentially, the Aghanim Scepter increases the AOE and the damage of Rot significantly. It also applies a healing reduction bonus. So anything caught inside the Rot gets that, like, kind of the idea is like the passive from Shiva's, but now inside the Rot AOE. But the damage in AOE is massive. Like it basically doubles in effectiveness. Like this spell is pretty sick, and like you said, the rush into the BKB, obviously preventing the damage to yourself, but also giving you the BKB Dismember, which is where the rest of this kit comes online. With BKB now scaling 9 to 6 as opposed to 10 to 5, you get a full duration Dismember pretty much at every point in the game. And against heroes, like you said, like the Terrorblade, if you get him out of position, there's no surviving that amount of magic damage. Like he will just die.
Exactly, and to that point, we're going to have to now see TeamTeam really be strong in these team fights where if they execute poorly, if they let this Pudge get away, they lose focus for just a few moments, you do end up with Sammy Boy in top of 5 heroes, and really, you need to get him out. You need to have 4 staffs. You need to have that mobility, most likely coming in from your Viper and your techies. Otherwise, there is nothing that he can do. In addition to that, this Pudge comes online that much earlier, not even talking about the activity coming from him, but you're just going to be able to run it down that much easier. And now, is this going to be a mid Pudge?
It's mid
No, it
Arc
is still
Warden.
going to
It's
be
Bryle.
safe lane.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bryle
it
is a
Bryle.
crazy good Arc Warden player.
Okay, and it's a little bit of a risk again with the Arc Warden, just because you are picking Arc into Terrorblade, which is a fantastic matchup for the Warden, just because you have those magnetic fields you can place down. But into Puck, you have to be a little bit afraid. The nice thing about Arc Warden is that you are another stat king carry where you are going to itemize to close that matchup where there will be a point where Relaya will run out of damage. And I think that is a major problem for Team, a problem that we saw yesterday when they picked up this Viper where you aren't getting very much damage if Fleet isn't on that Lion and now he's on a Techies. So if they aren't really playing into those mines in Undying while they didn't pick up that Wraith King, they picked up this Pudge. They are very tanky on every single end, and once Brow gets a few of those items, he's going to be we're right back up there with the boys. I think Undying have really crafted a hard-to-crack lineup.
I'm honestly so excited for this game. Like, this is one of those things where like someone's gonna clip it and put it on Reddit and be like, guess the MMR, like type of thing, and it's just Undying versus Team. So this is fantastic. Very excited for what we've got going on here today. I wouldn't have wanted to open up today's tournament any other way. So thank you, Undying, and thank you, Team, for the first phase techies, the safe lane Pudge, and of course a mid Arc Warden to round it out. Why not? We'll be here for 3 hours. We'll delay everything. We'll run over SEA's times tonight. It'll be fine.
Yeah, lead the day with Pudge techies. There really is no better way, to be honest. And to top it off with that, we also get Saberlight Axe, something that we typically don't get to see him play because they usually end up giving it to Tomato. So I'm excited on all fronts, to be honest. And we get to see Undying play more Dota, so I'm pumped.
That's the real treat, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we got a little bit of a pause here to start out the day. Sheesh. I love the sheesh. That's such a good one.
It's really strong. It's one of the strongest for sure. And it's not too spammy either. I think there are some voice lines that definitely have run their time, run their limit, where they just are, they're a 15-second voice line and you're like, what's going on? I think the Devi Llama didgeridoo is also pretty high up there, or the Mongolian throat singing, not the didgeridoo.
Yeah.
All of them is really good. Wow, and Force Zoomers are already asking about time left. This is wild.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Yeah, this is what I expected from these boys, but this is it. We got the safe lane Pudge, the Dragon Claw hook. Very nice. Well done. Tomato has 3,524 hook kills. Sounds like he bought this gem.
Yeah, I was gonna say, feels like he bought that one.
That's definitely a bot gem. He's level 6 Pudge. Absolutely not legit. Someone needs to report this man.
Yeah, but probably came with the previous owner, someone who actually used the hook, but you never know. Tomato, maybe this is just something he played on the Smurf a lot, had the hook passing between accounts, but we won't say the S word anymore. Those don't exist in Dota, actually.
He bought a Quelling Blade. That is surprising. So okay, as someone who has played a lot of Pudge in his days, I think Quelling Blade is a completely wasted item. I hate this item on Pudge. There's no one who can contest you for last hits anyway if you just buy like 2 circlets instead. Like,
yeah, and maybe it's just with Tomato not wanting to necessarily go for the double bracer build, which is kind of a question mark because I feel like with these gauntlets, that's exactly what he is going to go for. I feel like it feels a lot better. It might be the soaring, you are right. It does fix his mana issues and his armor issue. Typically, we still see with these safe laners, especially with the safe lane axe, they either want to rush that chainmail or that Band of Elven skin. Like when we see the Ursa, we always see them rush immediately for that item just to minimize the amount of harass they get in their lane. Now, I am looking at their lane and still thinking to myself, it's going to be DK techies. Brax has to play really well. Brax DK, kind of a meme, especially off that one clip that was sort of infamous with his DK and not knowing how the stun works, but I still think, like you said, Tomato, with this Pudge, it's really hard to contest his farm. He has a surprisingly good base attack time, he has a very, very high base damage, and you have this amount of HP where you're really not going to get harassed out of lane. I wonder if Dubu's going to get a little bit greedier when it comes to his falling up regen. Of course, making no hint to that in his shift queue up here, but if he can keep his Pudge in a high HP pool, really should have a very free lane versus the DK.
Yeah, I feel like So here's like when it comes to Pudge, like one of the things that I mean, I guess your biggest weakness is the fact that you're immobile and you have low armor, right? And so the easiest thing to do is you just fix one of those and the other doesn't really matter. And so a lot of times in the lane, like you just either go Soul Ring and Chainmail or you just buy like Bracer Chainmail, right? Like it just comes down to like what the easiest way to solve it is. If you need the movement speed, you can go for movement speed, but a lot of times, like specifically in these lanes, you're just gonna get yourself like, you know, early armor, tank up, get some regen, and then you can't really be zoned out of the lane. Like you just trade really efficiently. If you hit a hook, you can pretty much set up kills onto nearly any support in the game. So I'm curious to see how they decide to run the lane. But, you know, who am I to question Tomato's Quelling Blade? As much as I'm not a fan of it, maybe this guy's a god gamer. He's played 1,000 games of Pudge in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. We're just readying for this match specifically.
Yeah, and with Quelling Blade, a lot of times we see carries pick it up because there are a few annoying trees, but the problem is that you usually pick it up for that reason because you're going to be farming these stacks, and there are a few junctions where you do want that Quelling Blade. We see it built up on certain mid laners for that very reason. I don't know about how good this Pudge is going to be at taking stacks, at least not the ancient stacks. That'll probably be going over to Saberlight if we do see a lot of stacking coming out, because we do have that double range support lineup, something that really Undying have leaned in on in the meta, and a lot of teams have leaned on in the meta because stacks are just simply the name of the game at this point.
Yeah, they really are. And that's a one thing that confuses me about the Pudge, because like when Pudge farms stacks, you just rot them down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't really need the Quelling Blade, but like you said, you do need to cut trees to help a little bit when it comes to farming them or stacking them. I'm a little trying to see. I mean, you have IX Mike on the 5 position, Viper. We're gonna see Roya on the puck mid. We haven't really talked about the other lanes. It's really just been hyper focused on this Pudge carry because, to be honest, this is what everyone wants to see. Everyone here is looking at this Tomato Pudge, but we've got Bryle Arc Warden into Puck in the mid lane now. That matchup, I feel like Puck is like on paper pretty good. Like it does have good, decent damage, but Arc Warden is a surprisingly very high damage hero. So I'm not really sure if he's going to be able to like actually out farm Bryle here. Now they are going to be able to find Sammy in the top lane. Arrow not going to connect despite the body blocks. A little off the mark there, but Saberlight, goddamn dude.
Still in front of him.
Stop it. You're bullying Sammy. Not okay. Dive under the tower. He gets the kill on Dubu. First blood going the way to the Phoenix. All right, that's
Tomato got the stack. He didn't even need to hook.
Did he?
Feels good, man. Yeah, he got it right underneath the tower. He took a tower shot for it, but he's going to take that every day of the week.
Heck yeah, +1, baby.
But you are right, in that mid lane, it is a little bit disadvantageous for Bryle in just the fact that you aren't going to have that guaranteed damage from the Spark Wraith, but Flux, another spell that actually feels very nice on the Puck. If you can get him when he's going to go for that Illusory Orb Jaunt, and like you said, no slouch in the damage department at all. I think a lot of people don't value how hard Arc Warden actually hits from the get-go as a ranged hero. He's 57 +2, which is ahead of the Puck right now, and usually you see Puck as that lane dominator who typically has that damage advantage over heroes like, let's say, the Storm Spirit or the Quap, but Bryle will be able to hold his own in this lane.
Yeah, exactly. All right, time to check out Pudge in the safe lane. Flea just gonna go ahead, start using that blast off to get these harassments. Sets up a Dragon Tail onto the Phoenix. Dubu does have the Fire Spears to throw it out. Takes a decent chunk of damage here. Still has his salve though, so he's gonna be fine. Just kind of reset himself here in the lane. Meanwhile, Flea, he's regenning up. He's still got tangos. He'll be fine.
And with the Suicide level 1, of course, you aren't really pulling a Jubei. What Jubei will sometimes do, he'll farm that small camp, stack it up, and then look for the Suicides there. And they do need to be cautious. If they trade all of their damage onto Dubu, you saw there where Brax stepped up a little bit, you eat 3 or 4 Pudge right clicks, and suddenly the trade gets a lot worse for you. And again, with this Pudge pick, thinking about it more and more, you have this hero that will now be able to stop the suicide. You have that stun where you don't have it in either support. Maybe once Moon Meander decides to make a few more rotations, we could see him make a trip to that bot lane. But Tomato will be able to interrupt that suicide.
Sorry.
Got another door though.
Brax posting the pause time remaining got me.
Dude, they've been hounds the
Oh,
past few days. I know
it's
the
so
viewers haven't
funny.
seen it, but in every single lobby, Team is just a no-nonsense team. This is the first time we've actually got to start their series, I believe, on time, being the first series of the day, but they're always, Mike's got to go to bed, he's getting older. Sammy Boy's always asking when they can rulebook the enemy team. They are hounds. They are looking for their victories no matter what.
Yeah, the real time wardens are Team is what we're saying.
Of course, I think it's all in good jest. I
Oh yeah,
honestly don't
always.
think there's any universe where they would try to get an advantage over their opponents because of something as silly as pause time. We even saw no ping yesterday, reping for their or remake for their opponents. So still very good sportsmanship. And you actually see Flea, he did the thing, farmed the small camp, stole some creeps from Brax, but get those all important levels on the techies.
All right, so Tomato just casual gauntlets, just gonna rush a ring of health. So eventually that he'll turn into either a Vanguard or Hooded Defiance most likely. But I think just for sustaining the lane, he just wants the extra regen there.
And Dubu tried to mess up the stacks, and Dubu, you had a courier you could have killed there,
Yeah,
but
I was
he's
just thinking the same thing. I was like, you just didn't see the courier, maybe? Too busy trying
it's
to
a little
ward.
bore, yeah. And you do steal away that water rune away from the puck, so going to keep his bottle empty, something that Bryle, really that is the only thing Bryle needs to focus on, and getting, again, those fluxes whenever he tries to John out of the lane. That's where Rioya could eat a lot more damage than he's possibly ready for, because again, you do have that phase shift, you are able to dodge out those Spark Graves really, really reliably, where you shouldn't be put in too many compromising positions.
Brax is
but
just dead, I think. Well, maybe not.
yeah,
It's close play there. Nice save from
he's got the
Flea.
hook.
Yeah, he does now. Gets a salve delivered at that same
Oh, wait
time.
a sec. Skill shot?
What a dive. All right, this is up to you, Tomato. Can you do it? First hook of the
Got
game, it
him.
hits, and it results in a kill. That's what you like to see. He did cancel his salve for that. But Tomato, 1 for 1 on hooks, 100% ratio. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And you do see him have enough gold now to finish off that Ring of Health. He'll probably make a trip for it in a sec here with the wave pushing in. But now you do have that level 4. You have that value point up in Flesh Sheep, already having 2 stacks. This only gets easier for Tomato. Brax needs to be careful. He can't let himself get taken out again like that. But it's not exactly his fault. He's got this techies, but I think they have Dubu here.
Oh, nice hook from Tomato. He was definitely aiming for the Dubu bird, but he'll settle for the Dragon Knight. Is again, like you pointed out, just going for the drive-by. Picks up Ring of Health, doesn't swap it into his inventory. I don't know if he's noticed yet. There he goes.
And I mean, Brax has the boots advantage.
He might need to. He should have TP'd out for this, I think. But there's a Dragon Tail coming.
Oh no!
Into the mine.
Well,
Tomato. He goes down to Rioya.
You took that shape too far.
yeah, and I think in a lot of situations, Brax would usually give up on that kill, but seeing his opponent really not react to him at all and having that boots advantage, and that's sort of a drawback of getting this Ring of Health this early. You don't have the boots, you don't have that movement speed, and you are a very, very slow hero, 280 MS. You do not have a lot in that department. And even Rioya coming in, just getting that little bit more XP for himself.
We haven't even talked about this off lane here. Saberlight, of course, versus Sammy on the Terrorblade now. Overall, pretty good at the moment here for Sammy. A lot of this just being done here by probably IX might be able to do a lot of damage on the Viper, but gets caught here.
Nice.
Yeah, really well played. Good setup there from Moon and good patience from him to set that up, arrow up. Now Moon, ooh, good cancel on the south. I was gonna say Moon always rushes the urn, right? So now that you have the urn in the lane, just makes things that much easier to sustain.
And we do talk about it sometimes with the early urn pickup. Usually that is either going to be an urn or it's going to be boots and a few more salves. And I think Saberlight, nice TP. If he gets out here, perfectly played, very well.
Yeah. It's rough, right? Costs 100 gold to TP out, but you do get the meta, and you can just walk back to lane. You don't really want to contest Terrorblade in meta anyway.
Oh, now Moon. He's going to get the walk back by Mike. Yeah. free farm for Sammy boy. He will get to take all of this under tower now. And that's where, Mike, you want to play around this level 3 timing where you do have that second point in poison attack where really no hero can trade with you in the game. But we're going to need to see that value point Nether Toxin at level 4. I'm surprised he didn't go for the 1-1-1 build because I don't think there is that attempt on his life if he does just put down the puddle. And you see Saberlight very efficient with his time, stacking his own Ancients. I think he's going to miss the Ancient stack. Even didn't aggro that one big creep. Ancient stacking's weird at nighttime. Sometimes they aggro, sometimes they don't. It doesn't really feel guaranteed sometimes, especially when you're a melee hero. But now Sammy Boy, out of meta, it's going to be sort of a free time again for Saberlight here.
Indeed. They're going for a call arrow play there. It doesn't connect. They'll eventually just continue to farm in that lane. Looking back down at Tomato, he only has 25 CS in this lane. He's actually not doing a whole lot, unfortunately for him. Like, he'll eventually get this Vanguard. It seems like I expected. He's going to go the Vanguard or the Hooded Defiance. Looks like he's opting for the Vanguard. But does have Dismember now, and that's where you have Kill Threat, and you do have to be very careful. Pudge's Dismember with 3 points in Rot. It's pretty much a guaranteed kill on most heroes. Dragon Knight might be an exception, just because he has so much regen. But if he finds techies, you know, Flea's just super dead.
And that's where you might see Tomato rotate to the jungle a little bit sooner, and something that I feel doesn't really play to the advantages of the Pudge. Of course, the immediate camps are relatively easy to farm, especially with that Vanguard, but like we talked about, you don't have that super stack farming potential. It's all going to fall to that axe if we do see those big stacks, and that's where we might see Tomato really fall off farm-wise. You see him actually unblocking the large camp because he knows that is going to be the game plan going forward, and I think punishing Brax when he does go for the bottom tower, that's going to be where we might see some heavy rotations coming in from Undying, but it really is just Moon. With this Arc Ward in mid, while you do have the Tempest double you can sort of throw out there, you really need to wait for a few more item timings before Brow can really put an impact on these side lanes, and that's where, again, it's just going to be Undying dealing with the aggression from this Dragon Knight who is going to be coming for your tier 1 towers.
Yeah. Luckily for them, like, they do actually have a lot of like threat against tower push, and a good portion of it is just Tomato's Pudge, right? Like, anytime you're pushing a tower, you have to be careful of Pudge. Being able to reposition a hero that deep this early into the game it is, you know, a very strong mechanic. It's one of the reasons that Pudge is like pretty much always a threat on the map. If you don't see the Pudge, you got to be careful, essentially, is how it works.
And he got pretty much the best neutral item level 1 you could get for this hero. Now you have the Broom Handle, a little bit more armor to top you off, as well as just 14 damage. Another neutral item that I don't think Valve really knew what they were doing when they put it in the game. I think it has the highest win rate out of all of them as well. It's just simply really good. It turns out having armor and damage isn't bad even for ranged heroes, even if you don't use that melee aspect.
Yeah, the melee aspect is kind of just like a small little like, oh, neat, but the item is really damage and armor. I would say like 90% of the time it's like you get it for the damage and armor. No one cares about it, the other thing.
And now bottom, we do see Moon heading over, and here we go. This is the bottom tower push, where do you have enough damage with this Pudge? You do have the max level Rock, but I feel like someone else needs to come, and here comes Dubu. But now Brax, nice stun, good reactions. They need to slow him down, and they're just going to give up on it. If he doesn't hit the hook, he's out.
I'm really surprised they didn't just hook to start that, because it was really like a 200 to 300 range hook from the other side of that tree. I think that was being a little greedy there. But Tomato not wanting to potentially mess up his 100% hook rate. Moon actually jumps up to the high ground here onto a stack of mines, but he's chasing after Flea. Gets the Starstorm. No, good fog there from the techies. And now Moon just going to tick down here the Dragon Knight. Flea's level 7. He's just been jungling on this techies.
Yeah, he has been doing the techies thing where you get these ancient stacks, you farm it up, you pop all of your proximity mines at the same time, and they 100% die. And that's where you might see Undying's lineup really fall behind in the aggression department, because until they have that playmaker coming in from Saberlight, and you see his Blink Dagger is still about 2,000 away, you're not going to see many aggressive jumping plays coming out. That's where TeamTeam really need to go to Undying before the play can even be made, while at the same time, really unfortunately had to close it offensively mid. Just Brow caught him off guard a little bit there, I think. but you need to get aggressive with everybody else, really aside from the techies on the team side. That's where we need to see a team up with both the Dragon Knight and the Puck sometime soon, because I think if Undying get a few too many more levels, it is going to be very difficult to find that team fight the team are going to want to take. You have these very good team fight tools like the Magnetic Field, like the Supernova. I think if you catch both of those heroes in the same lane, team might just go for the split push play because it really is that strong.
We're seeing a rotation bottom from Ryoya. They finding Dubu is a nice kill here because it does open up the tower pretty easily. And Fleet, ooh, jumps in, but he can't cancel the dive. Unlucky. Well played there by the techies as they find that kill onto Dubu. And that's a very low commitment. I mean, that was just a Dragon Tail and a blast off.
And now Brax is going to put pressure on your tower, and they're actually going top at the same time. They might have bit off more than they can chew, though.
Yeah,
Saberlight's
really deep. Just going to get punished absolutely by that Puck, who, I mean, 441. I mean, he's a really aggressive Puck right now. Does a ton of damage. Top net worth, top level. He's having a fantastic game. Tomato finally showing up bottom. Would love to get on top of Brax. Dragon Tail does come out, but Flea's got a blast off. Can cancel the Dismember at any time. And that tower is dead.
And they get their objective. They get their tier 1 tower. You actually saw Brax. He's got a Midas flying out on the courier. They are going to take this one low and slow. They really want to. So we won't see a lot of those aggressive plays, but I guess relying on, again, the strength of their heroes, maybe saying that we don't need those item timings. We're going to play at Undying's pace, which is definitely going to give him a chance. And Moon just ticks out.
Yeah.
That was it.
Saw the Viper Strike, 3 poison attack stacks at level 4 poison. I was like, that might just be death. And apparently it was. I mean, this is this, I guess, the strength of team. So here's the thing. I was looking at this a few times, looking at like timings and stuff, trying to figure out where we're going. Brax has Midas. Obviously, you go Midas on Arc Warden. We have a safe lane Pudge who needs to get to like Ag's BKB and maybe even a Blink Dagger. And you have Axe who needs Vanguard Blink, probably Manta. So you have like huge item timings on the side of Undying, and as a result, you just have this Viper and Puck and DK who are just going ham on the side of TeamTeam.
Yeah, and this is where, even talking about the Puck, or rather the Pudge versus Viper, where the Flesh Heap is not going to give you that guaranteed takingness. You're not going to have that added magic resistance if you do end up in those puddles. And if you're sitting there dismembering someone, Mike is always going to be there with the puddle. So we talk about sort of the Pudge versus Viper matchup where you are immobile on that Viper. If you get hooked in, fantastic, but we need to see a little bit more from Tomato. We need to see him starting the engagements, because right now TeamTeam are getting to pick and choose their fights, and during all this time, you have this Sammy Boy Terrorblade farming on the complete other side of the map, really farming uncontested, and you see him queuing up that Scotty. Once you get the Scotty, that's where this Pudge is going to become sort of a liability, where you need to rely on your Arc Warden matchup more than anything coming from Tomato. And I definitely believe in the Arc Warden and Bryle, but it is going to be a little bit scarier than I think you'd want for your team.
Yeah. So, okay, Brax is hilarious. They like Dragon Tails Dubu mid lane and then walks up and clicks the tower and then walks away. Very neat.
Relay just keeps finding these picks, and again, he's got more top too.
Yeah, they're gonna get Tomato, and this is the thing. The techies is actually a huge problem because of this blast off silence, and like until Tomato has, like we said, like a BKB or something, like he can't really get too aggressive. Mid lane though, Puck comes right into a call. Falling super low, able to jaunt away though, might survive. Bryle, I don't think is gonna find that last hit. Sammy just on the other side of the tree line though is gonna pop that meta, turn it around onto the Arc Ward. Now they've got to disengage here on the side of Undying. Saberlight has the blink and the call waiting, does find it. He gets the call just in time onto the Terrorblade as Bryle just trying to hobble away. Brax, no Dragon Tail for a few more seconds. And really surprised they were able to disengage on the side of Undying. I really thought that they were going to be able to turn that around, but Saberlight with the Blink Dagger doing some work here. Tomato has respawned, and then he just queues up the BKB. Okay, good.
And both of those initiations were so sick from Saberlight. You get Ryoya without having him commit the coil. He didn't feel strong enough to even stick around. He immediately went for the reset to possibly try and defend this mid-tier 1 tower. And as soon as you run out, I think TeamTeam split off just a little bit too far. You look at their HPs, everybody is more or less full. Of course, you didn't have meta. Maybe you don't want to keep Sammy Boy around, but now they get what they want on the Undying side. You get that tier 1 tower mid, and this is where it breaks open towards that triangle if they want to go for those more aggressive plays, and that's where they look for the lane where Sammy Boy broke up. Sammy Boy feels like something's up here, but they might still look for him. They want to find them with the respawning camps, though. They're going to see everything's farmed, and they might actually whiff.
Yeah, this is a nice dodge out by Sammy here. This is really well done. I mean, maybe they can get Puck. They know they're pinging out the rune thinking, you know, it's possible he's there. But, oh, this mine from Techies. Oh, my goodness. That just saved the Puck's life.
And you're right, they get it at a really good timing. You're either going to find the Terrorblade respawning in his triangle, or you're going to find a Puck looking for that 16-minute rune. But it is the slight vision from those remote mines in those entrance and exits that gives away the play. Now, there's some fantastic vision now in the Dire Triangle, so we'll have to see Sammy Boy really play around that. But now in the Radiant Triangle, they're
invading.
blind.
Roya with the brand new Blink Dagger gets the coil off, catching kills onto both the Arc Warden and the Phoenix Arrow. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You've lost the big target there, which is going to be obviously Bryle. Trying to keep him alive is not going to be easy against a Puck, as well as a Dragon Knight. Like, right, once Brax has this Blink Dagger, he's just going to stand on top of this Arc Warden the whole game.
And that's where this Midas really isn't feeling like an issue. It feels like he has time to actually go for it, and they're still playing Tomato.
Yep.
Oh no,
Tomato, he was under a ward the whole time. They actually TP bottom here on the DK without Dismember. Tomato has no way to sustain this. Gonna go ahead and pop that barrier, try to continue to run, but Brax hits him out with that next Dragon Tail, and another kill going the way of Sammy's TB here. I mean, I guess they caught Flea, but Axe has to TP out.
And Moon, okay,
just runs into Sammy. Nowhere to go. All right, TeamTeam looking good. 8K gold lead, not too shabby here for TeamTeam fans.
And you can't help but feel like Undying, while they do have this cool lineup, while they do have some nifty plays available to them, TeamTeam are really giving them what for. They're really firing on all cylinders, especially this Ryoya Puck, where a lot of times when you see this Ryoya Puck, sometimes he doesn't feel as comfortable as some other mid laners that we do see placed on this hero, but he is just making plays left, right, and center. He's been involved in 12 of the 15 kills, and if they get this kill onto Brax, it's a start, but
it is. It
not
looks
much
like
you
it's
can
gonna
do
get
about
it.
it.
Yeah. Goes the way of Saberlight there. A decent amount of gold. A nice blink call there. They do have a good like ward here on Dire in the top half, right above the lane, but nothing seeing the entrance to the triangle. So overall, well played there from Undying. Getting a little bit of gold back their way and a little bit of space for Bryle actually as he finishes up those Boots of Travel Maelstrom. But the problem you have right now is this Pudge. Like it's supposed to be winning right now, right? This is how Pudge works. let me just make this clear. Pudge is supposed to be winning right now. He's supposed to be running down heroes, finding kills constantly. But it's like you said, it's Ryoya's Puck is just absolutely crushing them from the mid lane because you don't have an active mid laner. You have an Arc Warden, and you have an Axe, and neither of these guys. I guess Saberlight with the Blink build is able to get pretty aggressive here. Now he actually goes back for the Blade Mail. Okay, I like this a lot because like. You can't afford to play super greedy on the Axe here. You need to get active.
And that's where we do see a lot of these offlane axes make that mistake where if you're only going to have 1 or 2 items, maybe this Blade Mill is going to be worth it. Maybe you're going to need Blade Mill BKB as opposed to going for that Mantis style Ag Shard build where they're pretty much the same amount of gold. And it's those hard decisions that we definitely see players like Saberlight are able to make. And unfortunately, looking at Tomato's timing, he's going to have his Ags around the same time Sammy Boy, even a little bit slower that Sammy Boy is going to have this Scotty. And that is really the danger zone for Tomato where you can't stand in these engagements. Whenever meta is committed, that's where Undying are really going to need to play around that very long cooldown because otherwise I don't think they're going to be able to stand in those fights. We've already seen how fast both the supports on the Undying side can die. I think it's a huge risk right now for them to take engagements into that Terrorblade. They're really going to need to manipulate that cooldown.
Flea's actually playing my favorite area on the map right now with the techies, just cutting off the entrances to the Radiant jungle. So if they want to try to make a smoke play out to the Radiant side, it makes it really difficult, right? You have to go for that like long wraparound like we just saw, instead of just, you know, beelining it from the mid lane. And Flea obviously waiting for one hero to make that mistake.
Yeah, and his Ags is slightly slower than I think you'd typically like on the techies, but he has been giving a lot, pretty much all of his farm over to his Puck and his Terrorblade. He's really been the nice guy. Even Brax is taking a lot of the neutral camps off the map, even with this Midas, which is keeping him really ahead in the game. He's going to be working on that BKB now, and once he gets that BKB, that is where Undying, that's the timing that is going to become so much more difficult for them. If they have to expend any spells and then very simply get BKB'd off, I think that's where Undying really need to be careful again about their engagements, because these big items are being made on the team side. You even see Sammy Boy going for a blink dagger. He's going to value that repositioning tool, where if he can get on top of these eggs, and we haven't seen it just yet, if you can get the magnetic field on the egg, it's most likely assuredly going to go down. And we haven't seen that game of cat and mouse where it's defend the egg versus rush it down, but that's where I think Team are giving a lot of respect over to the Undying side still, letting them finish up their item timings and saying, we're going to keep this lead that we've got, we're going to finish our items. We've got Terrorblade. Terrorblade should win, I think, on paper in this situation, and that's where most of the pressure in this game is falling on Sabriel, whether or not he's going to be able to protect his teammates and whether or not he's going to be able to handle the pressure coming in from this Terrorblade.
Yeah, I mean, we see Tomato, he was bouncing back and forth between multiple items, the Blink, the BKB, the Ags, and he does end up finishing up the BKB. I think it's absolutely essential. Blink Call finds the puck. The question is, there's the arrow. Okay, I was worried if they had the follow-up there. They do. They get Ryoya a massive gold bounty going the way there of Moon, but also a lot of XP for the team, nearly 800 for each member. They're gonna go right into the Roche. Ryle, I mean, he takes this pretty quick. He's got the magnetic field plus the Mjolnir active. Axe,
here we go. They need to decide how they want to take this.
They see the mines there as well, and Team do not want to contest, which this is a big win here for the side of Undying. Not only getting that kill, but also finding a call here on the high ground, looking for the Viper. Saberlight just needs a little bit of damage, but it looks like Ice Mike might take out here to that Spirit Vessel. He will. Gonna go the way there of Saberlight.
And finally, these two wards that Undying placed really 7 minutes ago come to fruition. They're finally able to get that pick, and they get the playmaker. They get the player that has really been the one holding them down for the longest time. And for a long time here, we haven't seen them able to make plays neither side has. And oh, what a nice blink from Saberlight, blinking past the mines. He is kind of in a sketchy spot here, but this is all they need. Now you're going to be able to kill this huge mine stack, and this is where Flea has committed most of his time, and Moon's just going to farm it up.
Yeah, this is you're pretty sad if you're in this scenario. The good thing is you are wasting time. For those of you who are unaware, Slacks has made an incredible video outlining why it is a nuisance to deal with this. Call actually off the mark, and Axe, he goes right on top of a mine, pops the essence ring, but it's not enough. It ends up going down, and now Tomato goes for the dismember, looking to take down Pudge, the Dragon Tail. Be able to keep him in this game. Pops the BKB, arrow off the mark, so is the hook. Tomato thinks better of this, decides to leave. Dubu gonna dive away as well, but dives right into a Dragon Tail as Sammy walks on over, picks up the kill.
And you saw the Pudge wasn't the one who picked up that Aegis. He wasn't going to be that secondary life frontliner, and Bryle wasn't in the vicinity either. I think they really overestimated their damage there. They felt like they were able to maybe burst out Ryoya, maybe keep him locked down enough, but unless you're landing those arrows on the puck, there's no shot that you're going to kill him. That's why really the only time we saw him die was that smoke into the Axe Call. And if Saberlight plays off the mark even a little bit, it's just get out. You have to make the retreat. He is your only real initiator in this lineup, and we see him going for the BKB now, and it's the exact right call, but at the same time, still feels a little bit sad. They need to make more plays on Ryoya. If they can be successful with those engagements, they get more time for this Arc Warren to come online, and that's what's going to end up mattering, because you look at the Sammy Boy Terrorblade, he's sitting on 5k gold more or less, and once he decides to get some of these tier 5, tier 6 items, he's going to feel that much more powerful.
Yeah, he's looking real strong. He is looking real strong here on the Terrorblade, and It's not that surprising. Like Sammy getting to play like one of his most comfortable heroes in a game where he kind of has free reign to just jungle, right? There's not a lot of pressure being applied by Undying. They go ahead and use the Moonlight Shadow here, wanting to find some sort of kill. Tomato needs to get back on the board. I mean, you're sitting on only 4 flesh heaps here at 25 minutes. One of the things that makes Pudge so strong is the bonus you get from your strength into your dismember on BKB, and he's just not getting that this game.
And you take a look as well, they have the word eye spot. Flea is just giving all the vision in the world to his ally, and then the suicide.
God.
There you go.
The range on Blastoff is so funny.
And with the Ag Shard, it becomes a viable hero. It actually feels like you can set some things up with just that brief 1.75 second stun, but
oh, absolutely.
It's a 7-second silence. It actually feels like now you can be that follow-up and completely enables Rua to play that much more aggressively. Unfortunately, Saberlight was able to kill bottom with that Tempest double, and that's where they still need to be careful, but
he didn't
they killed
BKB.
Tomato. He didn't BKB.
They do get the call here on the puck.
Play.
They're going to try and turn it around, but he's able to keep himself alive thanks to that Aeon Disc, and now Saberlight in a terrible spot. They're just going to lay into the egg here, I believe. They got to be able to finish this off before the explosion.
Yep.
It does save Saberlight, though, so at the end of the day, Dubu does give up his life for another.
And unfortunately, they bit off a little bit more than they could chew. They didn't have the magnetic field. They didn't have the Tempest double to put it down. If they do, that fight actually looks quite terrible for TeamTeam. If that egg does go off, Sammy Boy's going to get stunned up. He still has that Sunder available, but you have to Sunder either what would be a Tempest double or the Arc Warden's Aegis. And then I think that fight could actually go awry, but they get the easy disengage, and this is just more time for both carries. And of course, you do have this Arc Warden finishing off some pretty scary items. He has a full Scotty, I believe, now coming out on the Courier. And heroes like the Dragon Knight and the Viper do need to be careful in these side lanes, but Brow's still missing one more item. Once he has that MKB, he can be that big threat, that huge damage dealer, but this is time where this Aegis is feeling more and more like a defensive Aegis. It's just more time for the Arc Warden to actually finish something substantial. Cool.
Not a lot of mines there, but definitely some good harassment. In comes Flea, able to stun up the Mirana, drops a mine right on top of her. He gets the kill, and they also manage to find the Phoenix on the backside, but a nice call comes in. A dismember onto the puck. The damage is coming in. They do get the kill. A big one going their way. Now Tomato, Saberlight, Gryle, the big cores. They've got to be able to find more here. Mike trying to man up here against Saberlight, but it's just not enough.
Fantastic double buyback from the supports on Undying. They get what they need. They did stack their stuns there onto Rioya, but they caught him, I believe, with the Aeon Disc just coming up, and that should be a major problem for him. This Aeon Disc, nobody wants to build Nullifier on their team until much later on in this game, but they get the kill on Rioya, and whenever that puck is off of the field, the aggression really stops from TeamTeam. That's where Sammy Boy, who actually has Arcane Rune and a DD Rune, is just going to farm up, but he has a full Swift Blink. He is just going to start blitzkrieging across the map.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Swift Blink. Is like the most feels good item to pick up in a game because you just zoom so fast. Like you just
I'm
can't
just waiting to
not
see
be
him
stopped.
blink. Yeah,
It's so fast. Top lane, another stun initiation thanks to that tech. He's right into the Dragon Tail, and you know he's gone. He just gets blown apart. Speaking of getting blown
Now
apart, you lose the
Saberlight.
Mirana. Saberlight gonna go for the call, TP out, and he will make it. Oh man, Flea's dude, the shard is so good. For those of you who don't rush shard on techies, this is a perfect example of why you rush shard on techies.
and Flea and Jubei, really, you could say, are they the same player? Probably not, but they definitely have meted this one out quite hard. But you're completely right. You get this shard so early. I've seen techies pull gold over their Aghanim Scepter, get this shard, because it does feel that viable. And when you have that, you can immediately get down the prox mine, you can immediately get down that remote mine, and pairing it up with this Dragon Knight, you have a hero that's disabled for 5 seconds, and you have 1,000 burst damage on top of whatever your offlaner, whoever jumping with you, is going to put out. So it just feels really, really nice. And that's where Tomato, again, this is your safe laner. This is how he's been prioritized in the draft, is getting solo killed in the top lane. I think this Tomato Pudge is really starting to go quiet. You look at his Ags, he keeps on having to buy more items before the Ags. He's gone for that Blink Dagger to feel like he can actually get another initiation off.
Blink call, they find Sammy, they thought they were safe there, but he wasn't able to get the Manta off the Sunder to keep him alive, but Axe just gonna go down Tomato, the Blink in, able to finish off him, and now Looking for more. Hook. Gonna pull
Nice.
in that DK. They burst him down underneath the egg. They get 3. I mean, Team thought they were safe under their own obs, but they didn't have a sentry. And as a result, they had a gem. Okay. They just didn't check the high ground. They just didn't check the high ground. Oh no, Saberlight's gem.
It's a good place.
Okay.
It's a good placement from Dubu. They had the MLS. They were getting out onto the map, but at the same time, you have to feel like if you're going to show your puck in these side lanes, you have to be ready for a fight. You have to be ready for a retreat. And up until we see this BKB finished on Sammy Boy, if you get caught by these heroes, by the initiators on the Undying side, sure, you get your Sunder off, but you ran out of gas so quickly, and Tomato got to wait on his initiation. Of course, Saberlight does trade away his life, but once you have a BKB on that axe, he can make those jumps with so much more confidence. And now with the gems swapped over, I do believe actually that they purchased the gem, but this is going to allow the supports on Undying to now put more pressure on this techies, and getting the gem or having the gem out on the map when you have this Aghanim Scepter finally finished up. All the remote mines pre-ags, sure, you don't mind too much if they get dewarded, but you're going to start to rely on these level 18 ags remote mines for damage, and if you're not getting those plays, you're going to now rely still on that blast off, and I don't know if it's going to feel like it's enough.
Yeah, it might. I mean, Saberlight's tanky enough at this point, or not Saberlight, I'm sorry. Bryle is tanky enough at this point. Like, Arc Warden has incredible stat gain, for those of you who don't know. Like, 2.8 strength gain per level. One of the highest when it comes to Agi heroes. But you build stats on the hero anyway, right? You've got this Scotty, you have the BKB, and now he's just itemizing for pure damage. He's not going to be an easy target for pretty much anybody.
This is where I would love if he replaces his Midas with a Hex. We don't see in the shift queue up. He's just getting this Daedalus next, which is going to feel really good. It's going to allow him to chunk through pretty much everyone. And you see the Tempest double in the top lane, where there gets to be a point where if Brax isn't feeling ahead in the matchup, this Tempest double just starts killing heroes, and there's not much you can do about it. And I really feel like that was a mistake that didn't need to happen for a team. It's just, while your puck is showing, you can't let yourself get caught off guard as far up as 3 heroes did. And we got to see it there. You put down the egg, you put down the magnetic field, and Team were so committed into that fight already because of the axe call, because of the Sunder already being expended. They felt like they just needed to sit there and die, and you don't want those situations to occur anymore. Fortunately now, Roche will respawn, and you do have the remote mine there, meaning that Undying really can't do much. They can never go for this play. It's just the sad fact about Techie's Ags. It's just too much pressure. You never know how many mines are in there.
You just have to wait.
We're going to see them re-central. Yeah,
Tomato also
you have to wait
finishes
it
his
out.
Ags. This is it. The timing is on. This hero now does a lot of damage. Rot radius increased by 225. Look at the size of that rot. It is huge.
With his set too, it's even hard to tell where it begins and where it ends. You can definitely feel like you're dying to invisible rot, and it feels pretty awful, to be honest. You just die and you don't know what's happening to you.
It's the same with Disruptor's talent for static field. Or yeah, no. Static Storm. Yeah. Well, like when he gets the radius upgrade on Static Storm, and you're just like, I don't know where this begins and ends, but I'm taking damage.
Yep, and you just have no idea. And that's where Team, they're trying to go for a smoke up. I really hate how after his first 2 deaths, Roya has really gone cold on us, but now they're going for the play.
Yeah, they found the
Black
Phoenix.
Dragon.
No way to keep him alive, but he's able to hook in the techies. Not necessarily the hook kill you want to go, but you will take it. The BKB still available. Pudge in some trouble. Will go ahead and pop that, but a Bryle just getting stood on by the Black Dragon here of Brax. Sammy blinks in forward, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to keep Bryle alive here. He's going to fall down. Saberlight will be next, and Bryle, even on the Tempest double, can't finish off either of these heroes. This is exactly what I was talking about. Tomato, he goes in, though. He did go in.
And Bryle bought back.
He did.
No, this is a disaster.
They're all dead. Okay, it's just game, I think. I don't know what just happened. They all just fed one by one. Diebacks, Ultra Kill going the way of Rioya. They still have Terrorblade and the Dragonite and Puck still alive.
I'm speechless. That was just completely carried by Brax. They're finding those really good initiations with the Black Dragon form going through that free pathing, but I can't believe they just threw away the bag. You bought back, I think, because Tomato said, I can go in, guys, I can go in, I have the Terrorblade, I have the Terrorblade, but you have 18 armor versus Daedalus Puck, Terrorblade, DK Dragon form. I don't think you're killing anyone there to start with, but you go in 2-3 seconds before your Arc Warden can even finish his TP? That is really disconjoined.
Like, if he went in with BKB, he can kill Terrorblade. He can. Like, if he went in with BKB at the health that Terrorblade was, and he gets, like, just an immediate blink dismember, Sammy dies there. Not that big of a deal if you trade 1-for-1. But walking in and also dying on Bryle is a really rough situation. And, yeah, Sammy just popped Manta, sundered to full HP, and they get themselves the Roche. Nice blink call there from Saberlight. Arrow's not going to connect. Terrorblade will get away with the BKB. And that's Sunder. Yeah, there it is. Is gonna blink forward, protected by his own BKB. Gets the Sunder back up to full HP, and they will, I guess. Do you even have to respect Tomato's Pudge here? Can they keep pushing?
I think that they're going to be slightly hesitant. They do have their cooldowns coming back up, but they want Brax to finish this one off. He's the
he got
safest
Dragon
hero.
Form up.
Oh.
Ooh, blink call.
Again.
He finds the real Terrorblade. That's gonna be the Aegis. Looking low here on a Saberlight's axe. He does fall in the end, but now Tomato, he's got to hit a big hook. Does not find him. And they lose that mid lane of Barracks again. Brax's Terrorblade is, or I'm sorry, Brax's Dragon Knight is just too much for them to deal with, I think. He is level 25, has the AoE Dragon Tail here. He is owning.
And look, you're not seeing this monster this monster Arc Warden anymore. Sammy Boy sees the Tempest Double trying to cut that bottom wave, but runs it down with his Agi Blink, and we're getting to this point where you need this Daedalus so desperately on Bryle. You need something. He almost had it before he was forced to buy back here, and Tomato, if he gets jumped here, everyone's going to jump him at the same time.
Oh.
Brax is hunting.
He was just wondering, like, is there a dragon over here? Happens to find it. Thinks better of it. The two-man Dragon Tail into the BKBs, into a stun by Flea. They've got to turn this around, but there's no BKB on the Pudge. He's just getting pelted. Sammy Boy, can he finish him up? He's just gonna die. He can't cancel the rot. The 7-second silences from the techies was too much. A Sunder there to save Brax. Well done by Sammy. He's just gonna aggressively blink in, pop that Satanic. And now Bryle with the BKB able to hobble into his magnetic field, but Sammy does not care, chases him down. The egg is there, but also pops. And TeamTeam just gonna close this game out so easily. Saberlight on the backside, tried to do something here with the BKB, but only takes down the Viper. The 5 position, well, Flea kills himself on the techies, but it's more of a, that's a celebration blast off for sure. Well,
yeah, I think they really played around it beautifully. They played around this techies so well in this game. He actually connected with his teammates so nicely. That's really where their lead started to spark from, was just the very small plays where you got active on that techies really early. And same with Rioya. Rioya played such a clean game that first 20 minutes.
All right, so I know what you're thinking here. Maybe Tomato Safe Lane Pudge didn't work out, but hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Pick it again, but ban the Terrorblade. And I think you're fine. Do it again. Run it back, Undying. Don't be persuaded, you know, to not do this again. It wasn't the problem. Pick me some good old Safe Lane Pudge. I want to see this become a thing because I'm a Pudge spammer and I love this hero. Not quite a spammer, but I do love this hero.
And I think really Undying, they just barely whiffed on those last 2 bans. I think they banned out the Rioya Kunkka, and I can't remember what the other hero was, but you let this puck through and you look at the support too, and you look at the offlane. Of course, Saberlight, he did hit that axe call maybe once or twice, got Rioya before he was able to finish off that Aeon disc, but no one else holds a candle. You don't have lockdown for this puck. You get to last pick it, and while this Arc Warden is a monster, he was able to go incredibly even in the lane, but you never want to go even with an Arc Warden because he goes for that Midas, he goes for those later timings. But TeamTeam just got way too much out of the map. We saw for a while there, they sort of flopped sides where everybody on the TeamTeam side was playing in the Radiant Triangle, and Undying had that fantastic vision in the Dire Triangle, but there was really only that one play where they kill Ryoya and Sammy Boy just continued to get more and more and more speed. We really only ever saw Bryle able to hit into Sammy Boy that one-time bottom. Ever since he got that BKB, again, very fast, around that 25, 26-minute mark, he had maybe 20k net worth at that point. You just can't give that much space to Sammy Boy Terrorblade.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, this was a very interesting game. I'm excited. I hope we get to see another. But that being said, everyone, we're just going to go to a quick break. We'll be back with game number 2 here of Team Team versus Undying on the Loopet Pro Series 7. Stay tuned.